Best quality hearing aids at the lowest prices. Just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from the Kanowski-Bresny studios comes the radio medium Laura Lee Show.
I feel like you had to let him go.
Yes, it is. He was on life support.
You've taken on the burden for his passing. Is that true?
That is right.
There's something to do with a Barbie doll.
He used to stick the old school Barbie dolls in the cake.
Oh my God, you're giving me goosebumps right now.
The radio medium Laura Lee Show. Tune into your spirit every Tuesday at 4 p.m.
This is WBNW 1120 AM, the Money Matters Radio Network. This is the Money Matters Radio Network, WBNW 1120 AM and W275 CM FM. Concord, Boston, the Money Matters Radio Network.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
This is Tucker Silva of the Financial Exchange Show, and I'm joined today by estate planning attorney Todd Lutzke from the law firm of Cushing & Dolan with your Financial Exchange quick tip of the day. And today, we're talking about the use of life estates and your primary residence. Todd, what are the pitfalls associated with creating a life estate when you transfer the remainder interest to your children?
Yeah, this is the most common way people create life estates. It seems easy, it seems simple, but it's not the best way to create a life estate. Once you put your children's name on the deed, you give up a lot of control. Like you can't change your mind later if you want to leave it to one child versus another who might be taking care of you later. You have problems if you want to go to sell it, right? You might have the right to live there, but if you want to go to sell it, you're going to need the permission of the children in order to sign off on the remainder interest of the deed. And then even if they do sell it and you get their permission, a larger chunk of the proceeds are going to end up in the hands of the child rather than you. That creates adverse income tax consequences to the child, plus you, who sold the house, might need the money to buy another house or a downsized house or move, all of which create problems. Never mind creditor problems for the children while they're living. Folks, don't do the life estate this way because it seems to create more trouble than it's worth.
Learn how you can avoid probate, eliminate estate taxes, keep your money in your family, and protect your assets from the nursing home. Request this brand new guide from Cushing & Dolan. It's called Calculating the Consequences of a Life Estate. Call 866-848-5699. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can simply request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. If you're looking for the perfect place for your next vacation, look no further than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Act fast and take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and receive a $250 per person airfare credit and a free hotel night when you book a 5-night minimum stay with any participating hotel before June 30th, 2025. St. Croix is known for its incredible history and spectacular architecture, along with world-class cuisine, incredible golf courses, and a wide variety of water sports. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Voted one of the top 2025 Caribbean destinations by U.S. News and World Report, America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. Experience a vibe like no other on the island of St. Croix. Go to visitusvi.com and use the code VIBE2025 for more information and book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025.
Here at the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, we are committed to all students not only attending, but succeeding at school. Your presence is powerful. Share why you attend at doe.mass.edu.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you tie my shoes?
In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
This is Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. We pride ourselves on being able to support veterans in their time of greatest need, ensuring they receive the protections they deserve. For over 100 years, the DAV of Massachusetts has helped thousands of veterans with housing, transportation, and medical assistance, and you can help too. Please visit dav5k.boston and make a donation today. That's dav5k.boston.
The Financial Exchange is produced by Money Matters Radio and is hosted by employees of the Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts, do not reflect the opinions of Armstrong Advisory or anyone else. Investments can lose money. This program does not offer any specific financial or investment advice. Please consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong Advisory and the advertisers heard on this program do not endorse each other or their services. Armstrong and Money Matters Radio do not compensate each other for referrals and are not affiliated. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong. Your exclusive look at business and financial news affecting your day, your city, your world. Stay informed and up to date about economic and market trends, plus breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. Help us support our great American heroes by visiting dav5k.boston and making a donation today. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong.
Chuck, Mike, and Tucker with you here as we try to finish out the week. Well, we're going to finish out the week. I mean, God willing.
Yeah, we don't really have to try that hard.
Yeah, it's not really up to us whether or not we finish out the week.
It's just a question of whether or not we can put on a good show and finish up the week.
That's
the only question.
The show's going to be okay today. Not great, not awful.
You're aiming for mediocre.
It's going to be middle of the road.
Oh,
you
wow.
know, I see where we're at and everything, and it's going to be fine. So stick around. Like, you won't be disappointed, but you're not going to walk out being like, "Wow, best thing I've ever seen."
Wow.
So I know.
Setting the bar low.
You got to be honest with the people, Mike. You know, some days, Pedro Martinez, one of my favorite quotes from him. He used to talk about being a pitcher in Major League Baseball. He'd say, "Look, you got 30 times a year that you're going to be on the bump, ready to go." And he said, 20 of those, you're going to be just fine. You'll have your stuff and you'll be okay. 5 of them, something's going to click and you're going to be like potentially ready to throw a no-hitter. And 5 of them, you're going to have nothing and you got to figure out how to get through. This is one of those 20 games where it's going to be fine. You're going to be entertained by us, but it's not going to be the best show we ever did.
See, I would argue that this is going to be the single best show about airport fires that we've ever done.
It's true, because London Heathrow is closed today. Not like just, hey, things are operating at reduced capacity. They have told people, do not show up before 11:59 p.m. tonight because we are not open.
No big deal. It's only the busiest airport in Europe.
Not a big deal at all.
Fourth busiest in the world.
Yes, it is just a major hub for any kind of international travel. And so you're going to have 1,300 flights either canceled or rerouted today. And the big thing is, look, this is predominantly going to affect European airlines. Sure, obviously you have, U.S. airlines that fly over there as well. But the number of flights is a fraction of what, they're flying domestically in the U.S. and a fraction of that total 1,300 flights that are being affected there. Look, British Airways alone is responsible for 677 of the flights that are canceled. So half of them are just from one airline. And basically what's happened, we don't know all the details yet, but there is a power substation nearby that apparently had some kind of catastrophic fire. We don't know any details about how, why, or exactly what happened, but basically it was bad enough that even the backup generators for the airport, I don't know if they were damaged because they're in a similar location, which would seem to be a bad spot for a backup generator. You probably don't want to put it right next to your primary power source. But the counter to that on one level is, hey, all of the wiring is already there, so you don't have to truly duplicate it. But, generally you want your backups to be somewhere else, but I don't know where they are. And so the airport has been without power for the better part of several hours now, and they're saying, they're hoping to resolve it before the end of the day. But the thing about airports, from what I gather, you don't just walk up to the side of the airport, push the reset button, and have everything come back on exactly as it was. And this is before you even get into, there's, again, if you get 1,300 flights being canceled, probably somewhere in the ballpark of 150 to 180,000 people that are going to be disrupted as a result of it. And the chaos that ensues where mostly British Airways is like, how do we get you rebooked, or how do we compensate you for whatever has happened? And so you've got some stuff to work through.
Mm-hmm.
Some stuff.
Yeah. So that's what's going on in London right now. And if you are planning to fly to Europe, you might already be delayed.
Yes. So there's that. After the bell yesterday, we had FedEx report their earnings. And for the fiscal year, they are guiding lower in a range of $18 to $18.60 a share, below the $18.95 average analyst estimate. They also think that revenue might be slightly down versus the prior year as well. This goes against previous guidance that thought sales would be flat. As a result, the shares opened down around 10% in trading today. And at one point, I saw that they had fallen, about 12%. So, just pretty choppy for FedEx. And in terms of trying to, figure out, where the weakness is, they are saying it is predominantly their industrial customers that are showing weakness right now. And this gets at one of the things we talked about, which is, hey, if you're not sure about where your business is going to be going, you may pull back on some projects and spending and things like that. And certainly, look, if you're talking about like shipping stuff, again, I know that a lot of times we think of FedEx as just delivering Amazon packages, but they do a lot more
Believe
than
it or
that.
not, yeah.
They do some pretty heavy-duty stuff for, high-end, big customers that need, big stuff shipped around the country. And so there's some questions on that side of things.
I have to say I'm not surprised that FedEx would predict problems to their business based on trade escalation, right? That's
no
wholly unsurprising that you would take a hit to your business and your industrial customers if it suddenly costs a lot more to bring products in from other countries, or frankly, even if it doesn't cost more but you're just unsure of what it's going to cost, then you might delay an order. The story over the last few months, though, has been not that, Chuck. It's been, hey, we need to get ahead of these tariffs, and so get all the stuff that we might want into our country as quickly as possible. And in spite of that, FedEx is saying for the third consecutive quarter that we are going to lower our full year guidance. And so, again, lowering guidance is not the same thing as reporting actual drops in sales, but they're doing both here. And I find that intriguing at the moment that this might be, if these tariffs should play out the way that FedEx is worried, this could be one of the better quarters that they're actually able to report, and those future results could be rather disappointing as well.
Yeah, so you've got them with a disappointing quarter. Nike also, quite honestly, is in, I think the technical term is deep doo-doo, is the one that's out there. I have no idea, and granted, they have a new CEO who came on board. Was it in the last quarter or two?
It's October, yeah.
It was October, yeah. So they have a new CEO who came on board, but they seem to be absolutely lost as far as where they are trying to go with their business. They're guiding down on sales. They're guiding down on margins. Basically, the whole business looks to be in a pretty ugly spot right now. And it's kind of fascinating to me because you talk about companies and the value of their brand. And historically, one of the things that has been true as long as I've been alive, at least, is in any of like the surveys out there. Like the Nike logo and the brand it's like one of the most recognizable symbols out there and one of the most powerful marketing symbols out there. And it just doesn't seem to be doing anything because they are really struggling when it comes to being able to actually move product successfully.
Yeah, there's been a few things on Nike's business over the course of the last few years that have just been all over the place. During COVID, they basically ended a bunch of their partnerships with third-party retailers and said, if we're going to sell our shoes, we're going to sell our shoes. And so they, I believe, pulled them both from brick and mortar as well as online retailers and said, you want to buy Nike stuff, come get it from us. That turned out to be a terrible idea.
Didn't work
at all. It turns out, Nike, you are not important enough for me to go there instead of shopping on Amazon or at Foot Locker or any of those places. And so they had to reverse course. In terms of sports partnerships and sponsorships and things like that, I'm not sure if they've missed the ball on that front as much has been the issue. But I do wonder, just in this new age of like social media and the pace at which new companies are able to produce sales online, I just think about all of the like fashion sneaker brands that have been coming out over the last few years out of seeming nowhere to compete with Nike.
Sure.
And gaining traction quickly. Nike's old tools of just, mainstream TV advertising, for example, might just not be the best approach that they can deal with right now. I think about, On Running and what are some of these giant shoes? Allbirds, Hoka, yeah, all of these companies.
Asics, Brooks,
and
New Balance.
If you do one Google search for like fashion sneakers, then all of a sudden your entire Facebook feed and everything else is just scattered with all sorts of very inexpensive brands. And today people are more willing to take a bet on that or rely on a Facebook suggestion than they were in decades past, when you'd say, I don't know what this brand is, what they do, or if the shoe's any good. I'm going to go to the old stalwart Nike.
Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we've gotten a lot of different consumer earnings this week. I want to kind of look at them in their totality and say, hey, what are we hearing from companies about how spending is progressing? We'll talk about that when we return.
The latest news on inflation, the Fed, the economy, and how the markets are reacting every morning, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network. Life estates carry a higher risk of income tax penalties and hidden gift issues. And while they can be beneficial in some cases, if you use one, you need to be aware of the pitfalls they may cause. Cushing & Dolan are experts in elder law and have nearly 40 years of experience helping families with their estate planning. Their new guide, called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates, can help you make the right decisions about how to protect your assets from probate and the nursing home. Life estates are not simple documents and can create the potential for you to lose control of your estate. So if you haven't done your planning yet, now's the time to learn about the effects that life estates can have when it comes to protecting your assets. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request the guide online at LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Developing the right financial strategy can be complicated, especially in today's economic climate. Hi, this is Mike Armstrong from the Armstrong Advisory Group. One of the most important pieces to this puzzle is the trust you have with the advisor you choose to work with. We've written a brand new guide called What Can an Advisor Do for Me? In it, we discuss a host of reasons why picking the right one can be critical to your peace of mind as you age. A financial advisor is much more than someone who simply manages your money. A financial advisor can help you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your portfolio, the various changes you may need to make to achieve your goals, and the way you may be able to protect your assets as you enter your retirement years. Call us right now at 800-393-4001 and ask for our new guide today. That number again is 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. services. If you're looking for the perfect place for your next vacation, look no further than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Act fast and take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and receive a $250 per person airfare credit and a free hotel night when you book a 5-night minimum stay with any participating hotel before June 30th, 2025. St. Croix is known for its incredible history and spectacular architecture, along with world-class cuisine, incredible golf courses, and a wide variety of water sports. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Voted one of the top 2025 Caribbean destinations by U.S. News and World Report, America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. Experience a vibe like no other on the island of St. Croix. Go to visitusvi.com and use the code VIBE2025 for more information and book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. That's 800-965-7987. Paid for by Term Direct.
If you missed any of today's show, catch up whenever you want on our YouTube page. Find daily show segments and full shows. Just go to youtube.com and search for The Financial Exchange. This is your home for breaking business and financial news. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
This segment of the Financial Exchange is brought to you in part by the U.S. Virgin Islands Department of Tourism. The U.S. Virgin Islands are St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John, and if you act now, you can take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and get a $250 per person airline credit when you book a minimum 5-night stay at participating hotels. Go to visitusvi.com and use code VIBE2025 to reserve your trip today. Take your next vacation to St. Croix in America's Caribbean paradise, the United States Virgin Islands. Go to visitusvi.com and use code VIBE2025 to book your trip. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the earnings that we've gotten from consumer companies this week, just in the sense of like, what are they telling us about where consumer spending is, since that's such a big driver of the economy. And I'll start with the ones that we got yesterday, which were Nike, which obviously was bad, and FedEx, which didn't really indicate much slowdown in their consumer business, but their corporate and industrial stuff is kind of lackluster right now.
Sure.
Other ones that we've seen in the last week or two, Delta came out last week and said, hey, we've seen a definite drop in bookings that is, potentially problematic if it continues.
Interesting stuff on Delta, though. Their higher-end bookings, international, for example, holding up quite well.
Yeah, so kind of a mixed bag there. Carnival Cruise Lines came out yesterday, said, hey, we're seeing all kinds of crazy demand, no problems here at all. Okay, that's kind of interesting. Williams-Sonoma was either yesterday or the day before. Williams-Sonoma, high-end, home products and things like that. You think dishes and
Spatulas.
More expensive than spatulas, but I'm sure they have those.
I think we have a giant wooden spoon from them.
Yeah, think of placemats,
sure.
All
good
kinds
dish
of
towels.
stuff. Yeah, great towels,
Legendary.
They said, hey, everything looks great here. No problem. Darden restaurants. Mixed bag, where they said, look, the high-end stuff that we have, where we've got Capital Grill and things like that, we're seeing no slowdown. Everything looks good there. The rest of our portfolio, kind of not doing so well. And
so that's starting to spell out a bit of a story here.
I think that the story that we're seeing so far on the consumer spending side of things is high income and high spenders not really adjusting too much at the moment. The lower income portions of the population seem to be pulling back in a fairly meaningful way right now. And Nike, I don't really attribute to any of this. Nike, I just think they're not executing.
Execution problems.
I think they just have execution problems there. So I think that we get back to this idea of, and this has been the case for, again, the last 5 years. I remember coming out of, the COVID stuff in 2020, and there was this idea of this K-shaped recession where those on the high end of the income spectrum are doing well, the ones on the low end are not. It's kind of being exacerbated right now, and I feel like that's a continuation of that story that we're seeing here.
And I want to try and figure that one out here, Chuck. Like, why now, I guess, is part of my question. Certainly last year you had student loan payments restarting last fall?
Yep.
So you had student loan
Those are not common amongst lower income
They're not.
quartiles.
So
Like most of the people with student loans actually make pretty good income.
Yeah, I'm not really willing to attribute it to that. I suppose the longer you just continue to rack up credit card debt, eventually you start hitting a wall there, but I wouldn't expect that to be hit by every person at the same time. We haven't seen an uptick in unemployment, especially not in lower paying jobs.
Well, we have seen an uptick in unemployment. There has been a 0.5 percentage point uptick in unemployment, and the underemployment rate has been moving up as well.
Yep,
so
I guess
more people that are part-time that would want to be full-time.
I guess what I'm a little bit more surprised by is, we talk about the wealth effect, and you've started to see stock values come down, especially among high-flying sectors that really led the market over the last few years. It's apparent to me, or maybe the data is so lagging, that doesn't seem to be affecting spending on the high 10% of income earners, for example.
I think there's a lag when it comes to the wealth effect.
Yeah.
And part of it is, look, most of the damage that's been done to this market happened since the start of March.
True. There wasn't a whole lot of damage in January.
No,
in fact, markets reached all-time highs in mid-February.
And you don't get your March statement or even your Q1 statement until the first week in April or so. So, someone might be like, my portfolio's, fine. It's still at, $500,000. And then they get it, if we stay at these levels, they get it in, April 3rd, and they're like, my 500,000 is turned into 470,000. Maybe I should, adjust how I was going to be spending. So I'm not saying it will or won't happen. I was talking with Mark Fandetti about this earlier today, and kind of the causality of, hey, do you see kind of what came first, chicken or egg? Do you see markets that weaken and then, spending weakens as a result, or do you see the opposite? And it really depends on the economic environment and the specific root causes, because you've seen both at different points historically. There's nothing that you can point to definitively and be like, yes, when markets go down X, that's when consumers pull back on spending and that's when the economy slows, or vice versa. It's not, definitively, hey, spending slowed in the economy and so that's when markets pulled back Y. It's very much always something that's in flux because the economy's never in the same spot it was in yesterday.
Yeah, Mohamed El-Arian was giving an interview 2 or 3 days ago, and he was talking about a lot of the soft data, because the soft data
is soft.
Up until this point, softened quite a bit, and also hasn't been accompanied by drops in the hard data. And the point that he made was, yes, this data was unreliable for the COVID period, but if you go back further, what he sees is soft data basically leading the hard data by 3 to 6 months. Yep. And so we saw the soft data turning in January and February, consumer sentiment, things along those lines. The question is, are we back to the normal pre-COVID period, or are we still in this kind of weird, strange environment where people respond exceedingly negatively when you ask them about how they feel about things, and then just continue on spending like there is no tomorrow? I don't have a good answer for you. And by the way, nor does the most informed group of people about the economy, the Federal Reserve. They were asked this specific question: will the hard data follow the soft data? And they said, we don't know.
We got no clue.
It didn't work for the last 4 years, so let's not count all this before it actually comes to pass.
Yeah, and what we're hearing from companies is kind of the same thing. It's like, yeah, we're seeing some weakness in some areas, other places we're not, and so we'll have to see how it goes. I know that we're kind of a broken record on that because I've been saying that for like the last 3 months.
Yeah, just wake me up in a year.
But it's like we're just going to have to see how things go because there's a wide range of outcomes as far as where things can go economically over the next 3 to 6 months, and we're just going to have to see where it goes. Quick break. Wall Street Watch is next.
Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter @TFE Show. Breaking business news is always first, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Environmental nonprofit Ocean River Institute is working with communities to tackle climate change with nature-based solutions that feature slowing water down and building more soil with grasses and plants. Research indicates that people acting in their own neighborhoods can build an inch of soil in a year and slow sea level rise down by as much as 25%. Please visit oceanriver.org for more information on opportunities to make a difference and go the distance for savvy stewardship of a greener and bluer planet Earth.
If you're looking for the perfect place for your next vacation, look no further than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Act fast and take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and receive a $250 per person airfare credit and a free hotel night when you book a 5-night minimum stay with any participating hotel before June 30th, 2025. St. Croix is known for its incredible history and spectacular architecture, along with world-class cuisine, incredible golf courses, and a wide variety of water sports. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Voted one of the top 2025 Caribbean destinations by U.S. News and World Report, America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. Experience a vibe like no other on the island of St. Croix. Go to visitusvi.com and use the code VIBE2025 for more information and book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025. Life estates are complicated, and they can cause problems if you're using them to protect your assets from the nursing home. Don't risk losing control over your estate. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and get their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from their website, legalexchangeshow.com. The proceeding was paid for, and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
This is Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. The DAV of Massachusetts has helped me and countless others adjust to civilian life through a variety of incredible programs. Through our local Veterans Assistance Program, we provide necessary services to veterans in their communities, such as food shopping, landscaping, and companionship, but we need your support. You can help by making a donation today. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
Managing money can be overwhelming. Investments, retirement, taxes, where do you even start? This is Susan Powers, and today I'm joined by Michael Armstrong, co-host of the Financial Exchange and the president of Armstrong Advisory Group, to break it down. First question, Mike. What's the biggest reason someone should work with a financial advisor?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Like, a financial advisor can help you set and reach financial goals, whether that's saving for retirement, buying a home, protecting your estate. They can create personalized strategies that align with your income and expenses and risk tolerance. Plus, financial planning just isn't one and done. Typically you'll adjust your plan as life changes. And so having somebody that's knowledgeable alongside there that can guide you through those different stages of life is really important.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what about people who think that they can manage their finances and investments on their own? What do they miss out on?
Look, I'm not blind to this. Some people can, and it requires a bit of an honest self-assessment. But if you're not looking at key factors like tax strategies, investment risk, long-term planning, those are areas where financial advisors can really help to come in, maximize returns while keeping an eye on risk-adjusted returns, optimizing asset allocation, and just minimizing those unnecessary risks that we see so frequently taken by folks. So there can be a place for one in people's lives, but it's not a one for everybody.
If you want professional financial guidance, reach out to the Armstrong Advisory Group today to request your free copy of our new guide, What Can a Financial Advisor Do for Me? Call 800-393-4001 to start securing your financial future. That number again, 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Cardiovascular disease is the #1 killer of women,
taking the lives of 1 in 3.
That's more than all forms of cancer combined.
For too long, heart disease and stroke have taken the lives of the women we love.
But we're not giving up.
Because we have something better.
Stronger, more powerful.
We have each other.
When we come together and go red,
the more power we have against our greatest health threat.
Visit GoRedForWomen.org today to learn more.
Time now for Wall Street Watch. A complete look at what's moving markets so far today, right here on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Markets are modestly selling off to wrap up the week. A little bit of a bumpy ride so far this morning, with the S&P 500 is currently on pace to extend its losing streak to 5 straight weeks. Investors are also reacting to a new batch of corporate earnings from FedEx, Nike, and Micron Technology. At the moment, the Dow is down by 0.9% or 374 points. S&P 500 down by 0.75% or 41 points, and the Nasdaq is down by 0.6% or 106 points. Russell 2000 selling off 1.33% or 27 points lower. 10-year Treasury yield is flat at 4.23%, and crude oil flat as well, trading just above $68 a barrel. FedEx shares down 10% after the delivery giant reduced its full-year guidance. Citing weakness in the U.S. industrial economy, UPS also seeing sympathy losses on the day. In reaction to that news, UPS shares down by 3%. Meanwhile, Nike shares also sinking today, now down nearly 7% after the athletic apparel maker warned that its sales will fall in the current quarter as it continues to push discounts to clear inventory. Elsewhere, Micron Technology stock down by 7%, despite the chipmaker beating street forecasts for the previous quarter. According to the Minnesota Star Tribune, steel producer Cleveland-Cliffs will temporarily idle 2 factories, resulting in hundreds of job cuts. That decision comes as automakers have reduced orders amid uncertainty linked to President Trump's tariff policies. Cleveland-Cliffs shares down by 3%. U.S. Steel offered weak guidance for the current quarter, sending that stock down by 1%. And home builder Lennar guided for lower than expected new orders for its fiscal second quarter. However, its earnings and revenue beat expectations. Lennar shares down by 6%. I'm Tucker Silva, and that's Wall Street Watch.
Hey, Chuck, remember that nice little market rally we got on the Fed meeting?
Yeah.
It's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, S&P was sitting at 56.37 at 2 p.m. on Wednesday before the Fed released their data. We got a nice little bump in the shares, and it's now sitting at 56.22. So don't respond to day-to-day moves in the markets, I think, is the short-term lesson there.
Micron Technology reported earnings after the bell yesterday. They are the biggest U.S. manufacturer of memory chips. They gave good forecasts, good numbers, and they said, hey, look, AI is, causing us to, be able, not causing, but it's allowing us to expand our business. And despite that, Micron shares down almost 7% in trading today. And so this continues a run of companies, hey, even if you're reporting good earnings, still ending up being punished. This despite Micron initially being up a couple percentage points after they reported yesterday, but just unable to hold on to those gains there.
Yeah, it's not exactly a good sign when you have solid earnings being punished. It doesn't necessarily spell disaster, but clearly investors are nervous, and I think are generally this year have been just dumping what's done fairly well over the last few years, right? You think about the Magnificent Seven, for example, not exactly highly susceptible to trade risk, for example, but haven't performed terribly well.
Well, I mean, some of them are.
Some of them are, but I mean, Amazon.
Amazon's susceptible to it.
Here and there.
Amazon's hugely susceptible to it. Half the stuff they sell is made in China.
Yeah.
Like, there's a huge issue. The ones that I think are, susceptible when you talk about, the potential for trade issues, the only ones that I think are, let me give you the ones that I think are insulated there. Microsoft, Google, and Meta.
Right.
Other than that, Nvidia, potentially major problems.
Yes.
Apple, potentially major problems. Amazon, huge issues, depending on where China tariffs go. And Tesla, certainly, problems from a supply chain perspective.
Yep.
So I think 4 out of the 7 have real issues on that side of things. And even the ones that I said, like, hey, probably not anything huge, still have some things they could have to deal with because of all the spending they're doing on AI, depending on how tariffs end up, potentially weighing on the cost of, those imports. Because remember, even though Nvidia is a U.S.-based company, they're not really making any of their stuff here right now. The production is happening in Taiwan Semiconductor, and those factories in Arizona are not spooled up producing, state-of-the-art NVIDIA chips at the moment. So, yeah, some questions, on those. Piece from, is this Bloomberg?
Yep.
Yeah, it is Bloomberg. The headline is, money-losing retail crowd keeps buying stocks as market teeters. And, again, we get different data on this every day. This one says individual traders put more than $12 billion into U.S. equities in the week ending March 19th, according to data from J.P. Morgan Chase. Okay, sure. So a few different things on this. The first is all of these numbers that get tossed around in these pieces, they're estimates. Because no one actually has 100% clear data into who is a retail trader and who is not in terms of how things are executing, because the companies that are reporting this are not the exchanges, because the exchanges have value in being able to, not publicly make available who's trading on any particular product on any particular day. So these are all estimates. And furthermore, the really good estimates that banks make on this stuff and the trading desks make on this stuff, they don't publish.
Yeah, they think it gives them an edge.
Correct. So I'm not saying that this is 12 billion or it's not. It's just, it's an estimate, and it's one bank's estimate, and take it for what it's worth.
Yeah, the estimate also is that so far this year, retail traders as a group have lost 7% for the year, while the S&P, as we know, has dropped, I don't know where we are today, 4% for the year, which, again, I could hypothetically buy that the average retail investor has more exposure to Magnificent Seven, which has done worse than the market. But I'm not sure I buy these numbers. And I also don't know that there's much that you should do with these numbers other than to, recognize that in the last few severe quick market downturns, oftentimes retail traders have been left holding the bag more than your institutional ones, but not always. No. How many hedge funds blew out over the course of the last few years on massive swings in markets? Many is the answer. Many.
Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk about some of the different challenges that single retirees face. It's again, something that has always been, the issue. Hey, I'm a single retiree. My situation's different from those who are married, but some new challenges cropping up in recent years. We'll discuss those and how you can try to navigate them after this.
The Financial Exchange streams live on YouTube. Like our page and stay up to date on breaking business news all morning long. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. New Englanders love the Caribbean, and now there's a Caribbean travel channel available for you to learn all about Caribbean culture while you're planning your next trip to your favorite island. The TravelShareIt.com marketplace is loaded with information about the arts, festivals, food, and music throughout the Caribbean, and is an interactive website featuring daily travel deals to any island of your choice. Book your next Caribbean vacation on the most comprehensive travel channel for the islands, TravelShareIt.com. That's TravelShareIt.com.
This is Michael Valila. Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. We focus on the people returning from service, not their specific illness or injury. Our number one goal is to make sure our veterans have the necessary services they need, be it physical, emotional, or financial, so that their transition can be seamless. You can help our great American heroes as well by making a donation today by visiting dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
Life estates carry a higher risk of income tax penalties and hidden gift issues. And while they can be beneficial in some cases, if you use one, you need to be aware of the pitfalls they may cause. Cushing & Dolan are experts in elder law and have nearly 40 years of experience helping families with their estate planning. Their new guide, called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates, can help you make the right decisions about how to protect your assets from probate and the nursing home. Life estates are not simple documents and can create the potential for you to lose control of your estate. So if you haven't done your planning yet, now's the time to learn about the effects that life estates can have when it comes to protecting your assets. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request the guide online at legalexchangeshow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Developing the right financial strategy can be complicated, especially in today's economic climate. Hi, this is Mike Armstrong from the Armstrong Advisory Group. One of the most important pieces to this puzzle is the trust you have with the advisor you choose to work with. We've written a brand new guide called What Can an Advisor Do for Me? In it, we discuss a host of reasons why picking the right one can be critical to your peace of mind as you age. A financial advisor is much more than someone who simply manages your money. A financial advisor can help you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your portfolio, the various changes you may need to make to achieve your goals, and the way you may be able to protect your assets as you enter your retirement years. Call us right now at 800-393-4001 and ask for our new guide today. That number again is 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, the grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
Hi, I'm Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. The DAV of Massachusetts provides thousands of hours of voluntary services at our VA medical centers and soldiers' homes and is the only DAV department in the country to lead a veterans housing initiative for both single veterans and those with families. These programs are critical to serving our veterans in their time of need. You can help our great American heroes by making a donation today. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
Miss any of the show? The Financial Exchange Show podcast is available on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Hit the subscribe button and leave us a 5-star review. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
All right, Mike, we got this piece from Barron's here. It's titled Single Retirees Face New Challenges. Here are the ways to cope. What kind of new challenges do single retirees face today?
So I'll get to the existing challenges that have always been there, and I've got some stats to go there. But I think the new ones have to do with just the social interactions that we're having in 2025 compared to even 10 years ago. And whether it's because of social media or COVID, a number of different things have changed the ways in which we interact with each other. And globally, there have been higher reports of loneliness and just fewer in-person social interactions than we had in previous generations. And so I think that's the number one new challenge that are facing people. It's not changes to Social Security or taxes or any rules. It is changes to how we as humans are interacting with each other in 2025. compared to previous generations.
From a financial perspective, when we look at, kind of the big financial things that single retirees face, a lot of those, as you mentioned, are still the same. Hey, if you previously were married, you go from potentially, 2 Social Security benefits down to 1. It becomes something where, you just try to figure out, hey, from a living space perspective, do I need to have, the same size home that I did previously? How do I cover, things like healthcare and long-term care costs? Those things become problematic potentially as you get older. And, that certainly is something that you've always had to deal with as a retiree or a single retiree. There have not been any major changes to the programs that form the backbone of, retirees' financial situation and Social Security, Medicare, and things like that.
But we do talk about something called a widow's tax, right? Where
sure,
that's been mentioned before, probably on this program, where it's one thing when you go through a divorce and you split assets, but let's play out the scenario of a widow or a widower. You effectively have your tax brackets cut in half, but you retain most of the income that you had while there were 2 people living, right?
And you might need most of the income that you previously had.
Yeah, because certainly your expenses don't get cut in half. You might get rid of a car, but you usually don't sell a home. You usually don't move in the case of a loss of a spouse. The really compelling stuff to me are the actual studies on things like life expectancy and need for care on a married couple versus a single individual. So I'll cite a few of these. One, Boston College has this Center for Retirement Studies that does some really interesting research, and they did something like a 20 or 30-year study on retirees and their interactions with long-term care. And what they found was that married men and women, about 60% of women, 61% of men, ended up needing some sort of moderate to severe long-term care. That could mean a facility, that could mean home care, but 60+% of them who are married needed that. When you looked at the same type of care for unmarried women and men, it went from 60 to 66% for women and 61 to 64% for men. So a pretty significant jump in those that need that type of care, because quite frankly, when you're married, a spouse ends up providing a lot of the care and it's not all that severe. Likewise, on the life expectancy side of things, I found this to be pretty wild. 65-year-old married men, life expectancy, 18.6 years. Divorced 65-year-old men, 16.3 years. It's a 2-year life expectancy gap. And the same pretty much holds true for women, 21.1 years of life expectancy versus 19.7 for a 65-year-old. So what's the lesson? I guess get married? No, that's not the lesson that I'm pointing out. I think the lesson is doing some planning here, because nobody thinks about the loss of the spouse in terms of their plans. But I'll mention one other thing with all of this. We talked about not a lot of changes. Medicaid is on the table for being changed. Why does that matter when we're talking about single retirees? Well, if you're more likely to need severe long-term care, you're more likely to end up in a nursing home. If Medicaid gets cut, what does that mean? It means that the reimbursement rates that Medicaid pays for people in nursing homes go down. Chuck, I know this isn't a well-known subject, but what happens if the Medicaid reimbursement rate goes down for everybody that's paying privately?
Goes up.
Cost probably goes up. We're already in New England talking about $15,000 a month. If you see Medicaid cut their reimbursements there, then you have a large pool of people who are getting the same level of care but not paying for it much, and Medicaid's not kicking in as much, meaning anybody who has assets could end up paying a lot more. This is not a pleasant subject to talk about. I want to be clear about that. It's not a terribly pleasant subject to talk about. If you are approaching retirement in maybe one of those non-standard type situations, maybe you're divorced, maybe you're separated, maybe you've lost a loved one, and you're trying to figure out what comes next. I know it's intimidating, and it's really difficult to talk about, but it really, really pays off to do this thinking ahead of time, to figure out how your estate plan is going to work into your financial plan, to figure out, what if there's an age difference between us? How do we plan for those later years? And the time to do it, I'm not saying don't do anything if you're already in your 60s and 70s, but the time to address these types of things is when you still can buy insurance, when you still can look at solutions that will help you address these problems for the future. If you have questions along these lines and you could use some of that consultation, the number's 800-393-4001 for the Armstrong Advisory Group. And again, that phone number, 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services.
Have either of you seen anyone who has used or shown you anything they've done with Apple Intelligence since it was released last fall?
So I actually just purchased the base iPhone 16.
Oh,
Finally
nice.
pulled the trigger.
How's it running?
Kind of like the old one. I had a 10R.
Still texts, still calls.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little lighter, it's a little faster, but not huge difference. And in terms of Apple Intelligence, like I was prompted to like go through tutorials and everything. Skip.
Didn't do anything. Here's the thing with Apple Intelligence. The early reviews are bad to quite bad. You had news organizations that basically pulled their content from it because their stories were being summarized incorrectly. It is not summarizing your messages correctly and this and that. And it seems like they botched the rollout. So a report from Bloomberg has said that Tim Cook is internally moving on from the current head of like Siri and their AI department, John Giannandrea, which is just a great name. Like
name so nice, guy so nice they named him twice.
What a great name! I mean, I knew someone in college named Peter Peterman, and I thought that was good. But John Giannandrea,
it's pretty good.
Is right up there with it. But here's where I think I'm just trying to wrap my head around this. So Tim Cook's saying, look, we need to get better at AI for the consumer. Okay, fine. So let's go get someone who really has this AI background and some kind of really focused in this area or something. They are bringing, and again, this is from Bloomberg's reporting, the guy who headed up the Vision Pro headset is going to take over running their AI department.
Now, let's be fair. Neither of us know him.
Nope.
Don't know his background.
But I do know that the Vision Pro headset has not really been popular. I don't think it was expected to be particularly popular.
Right.
It was kind of a public beta test almost. But
seemingly no big picture AI expertise.
I'm just trying to figure out where. And look, I am a believer that, hey, if you actually think that you can do something with AI to, help individuals that's based on your phone and not having to use, crazy amounts of computing power to do so, okay, like that's an approach I can get behind, but Apple has not executed well to begin with, and quite honestly, like their last two things that they've, hyped up in the last year, it's been the Vision Pro and Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
Fair case that both of them have been flops. Now, the Vision Pro was expected to be a flop given that it cost $3,500, but Apple Intelligence was not expected to be a flop.
Right, and I go back to, look, Siri's been pretty lacking for quite some time now.
Well, hey, at least it's not like, is it Google or Amazon that announced last week that they're no longer going to allow you to store your recordings locally? You have to upload it to them.
Don't know.
I forget which one of them it was, but there's some pretty dystopian stuff that's happening here, and I'm very happy that I have as few devices of these as possible in my home.
I think it's finally starting to catch up to Apple that, okay, we've avoided this for as long as we can. We need to actually do something.
I guess this is something. We'll see how it goes, but it's, I don't know. It doesn't seem like much. Quick break here. Hour 2 coming up in a bit.
Environmental nonprofit Ocean River Institute is working with communities to tackle climate change with nature-based solutions that feature slowing water down and building more soil with grasses and plants. Research indicates that people acting in their own neighborhoods can build an inch of soil in a year and slow sea level rise down by as much as 25%. Please visit oceanriver.org for more information on opportunities to make a difference and go the distance for savvy stewardship of a greener and bluer planet Earth.
Sometimes we know what's next. Other times, it's impossible to know. Life can change in an instant. Don't be caught standing by the next time someone's heart stops. Knowing CPR gives you the ability to act and takes you from bystander to lifesaver. CPR is a life-saving skill. Join the nation of lifesavers today by learning CPR at heart.org/nation. National support for CPR education provided by Elevance Health Foundation.
Life estates are complicated, and they can cause problems if you're using them to protect your assets from the nursing home. Don't risk losing control over your estate. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and get their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request it online from their website, legalexchangeshow.com. The proceeding was paid for, and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
This is Michael Valila, Adjutant of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. The DAV of Massachusetts has helped me and countless others adjust to civilian life through a variety of incredible programs. Through our local Veterans Assistance Program, we provide necessary services to veterans in their communities, such as food shopping, landscaping, and companionship, but we need your support. You can help by making a donation today. Please visit dav5k.boston. That's dav5k.boston.
This is the Money Matters Radio Network. WBNW 1120 AM and W275CM FM. Concord, Boston. The Money Matters Radio Network.
Did you outgrow your timeshare and now you want out? But you can't. You can't sell it, and you can't get out of the contract. Imagine trying to get out of your mortgage. That's what a timeshare is. You can't just call up the bank and say, I don't want to pay it anymore. But we may be able to help you do just that. Listen, a timeshare maybe for you once was a great thing, but now you don't use it much. And they are not easy to get rid of. Plus, you do have to pay for it every month. Qualified timeshare owners can get out of their contract legally and permanently without ruining your credit or even filing bankruptcy. And imagine no more mortgage payment or fees. Call the Timeshare Exit Hotline qualification line now. It's free to learn more.
800-455-7967. 800-455-7967. 800-455-7967. That's 800-455-7967. Paid for by Timeshare Defense.
Managing money can be overwhelming. Investments, retirement, taxes, where do you even start? This is Susan Powers, and today I'm joined by Michael Armstrong, co-host of the Financial Exchange and the president of Armstrong Advisory Group, to break it down. First question, Mike. What's the biggest reason someone should work with a financial advisor?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Like, a financial advisor can help you set and reach financial goals, whether that's saving for retirement, buying a home, protecting your estate. They can create personalized strategies that align with your income and expenses and risk tolerance. Plus, financial planning just isn't one and done. Typically, you'll adjust your plan as life changes. And so having somebody that's knowledgeable alongside there that can guide you through those different stages of life is really important.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what about people who think that they can manage their finances and investments on their own? What do they miss out on?
Look, I'm not blind to this. Some people can, and it requires a bit of an honest self-assessment. But if you're not looking at key factors like tax strategies, investment risk, long-term planning, those are areas where financial advisors can really help to come in, maximize returns while keeping an eye on risk-adjusted returns, optimizing asset allocation, and just minimizing those unnecessary risks that we see so frequently taken by folks. So there can be a place for one in people's lives, but it's not a one for everybody.
If you want professional financial guidance, reach out to the Armstrong Advisory Group today to request your free copy of our new guide, What Can a Financial Advisor Do for Me? Call 800-393-4001 to start securing your financial future. That number again, 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. If you're looking for the perfect place for your next vacation, look no further than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Act fast and take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and receive a $250 per person airfare credit and a free hotel night when you book a 5-night minimum stay with any participating hotel before June 30th, 2025. St. Croix is known for its incredible history and spectacular architecture, along with world-class cuisine, incredible golf courses, and a wide variety of water sports. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Voted one of the top 2025 Caribbean destinations by U.S. News and World Report, America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. Experience a vibe like no other on the island of St. Croix. Go to visitusvi.com and use the code VIBE2025 for more information and book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. That's 800-965-7987. Paid for by Term Direct.
A sound estate plan has many layers. In some cases, using a life estate can be a beneficial piece of your plan, but they also can be problematic. Call Cushing & Dolan, the experts in elder law, at 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. Building the proper estate plan not only protects your assets from the nursing home, but also helps you avoid probate and potentially eliminates estate taxes. So be aware of the many problems life estates can cause before you create one. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and request this new guide. In it, you'll learn about the significant effects that life estates can have on your estate plan, including the possibility of losing control of your estate. Call 866-848-5699 and get your free guide today. That's 866-848-5699. Or you can request the guide online from their website, LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated. The Financial Exchange is produced by Money Matters Radio and is hosted by employees of the Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. All opinions expressed are solely those of the hosts, do not reflect the opinions of Armstrong Advisory or anyone else. Investments can lose money. This program does not offer any specific financial or investment advice. Please consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong Advisory and the advertisers heard on this program do not endorse each other or their services. Armstrong and Money Matters Radio do not compensate each other for referrals and are not affiliated. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong. Your exclusive look at business and financial news affecting your day, your city, your world. Stay informed and up to date about economic and market trends, plus breaking business news every day. The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts. Help us support our great American heroes by visiting dav5k.boston and making a donation today. This is the Financial Exchange with Chuck Zodda and Mike Armstrong.
Kicking off hour 2 of the Financial Exchange is Chuck, Mike, and Tucker, and stocks with, again, kind of a modest sell-off today. Nothing big, nothing crazy. The Dow's off a couple hundred points, about 0.5%. The S&P 500 is off 25 points, or about 0.5%. The Nasdaq's down 54 points, or about 0.33%, so just not much movement on that side of things. 10-year Treasury is down 0.4 of a basis point.
Big move.
Really teeny move to 4.237%. And so just not too much going on. Again, he had kind of a sharper sell-off to start the day, but it's moderated as the day has gone on.
Yeah, we were off, a full percentage point on the S&P 500 at the open, I believe. So it has moderated a fair bit as some hope to rally into the weekend, perhaps.
You got oil up 18 cents a barrel to $68.25 on West Texas Intermediate. Nationally, we're continuing to see gas prices moving up as we move over to the summer blend of gasoline, now at $3.12 and 9/10 cents nationally. The price of gold is down $23.10 an ounce to $3,020.70. And so overall, nothing too exciting at this point, but it's a Friday and all kinds of things can change, especially, hey, we got March Madness going on, and does the madness spill over to the markets?
Ooh.
Maybe it's market madness.
That's probably why markets are so boring today.
Right? All of the gamblers
all
who
of
watch
the
games.
Male traders who typically spend all day trading are instead spending their day gambling.
Tip off in 1 hour.
Who's the first game today?
Oh, I forget. I don't know.
I got to say, first day of the tournament this year.
Underwhelmed.
Kind of meh.
Yeah.
There were like 1.5 good games there.
Baylor and Mississippi at 12:15.
Oh, okay, fine. Yeah.
Not bad.
Okay.
2, 8, and 9 seeds.
Acceptable. First day of the tournament this year, nothing great. I mean, you had a couple games that were okay-ish. You know, that Missouri-Drake game was fine. The end of the Clemson loss to whoever it was, McNeese?
McNeese, yeah.
I got to say, I watched the first
seed.
half of that game where Clemson scored 13 points in the entire half.
Yeah, not great.
And I'm sitting there, I'm going, what happened here? And then they scored 49 in the second half, or it might have been 49 with like a minute to play even. But yeah, just not a great game overall. But it's neither here nor there. We're here to talk about what spooked the S&P 500 and why it wasn't the trade war, because that's the title of the piece from Bloomberg Opinion. And it makes the point that, look, if this was really, trade related, you'd be seeing things like, automakers and consumer discretionary companies getting hit harder, and instead you saw big tech really struggling the most. I always get nervous when we try to, after the fact, assign blame as to, well, here's what really happened, and most of the time, you don't really know. It's not even you don't really know. The idea that, hey, the trade war would not only, but predominantly affect, consumer stocks, it's missing the fact that trading is not just about what's going on in the world, but it's about how investors are positioned beforehand. And so if they're positioned heavily in all the Mag 7 stuff and this and that, yeah, the trade war could still be the proximate cause for the sell-off, even if it's not selling off the stocks you think are supposed to.
Yeah, so an example here, I can think of few companies that would be more susceptible to the current talk of trade war than General Motors. Fair to say?
Yes.
Stock's only down 3% this year.
Yeah.
So I get what Nir is,
Sure.
the point that Nir is making here. The counterpoint that I would make is, how do most people invest these days, Chuck, in terms of tools that they use within their investment portfolios?
Say that again?
The tools that people use in their investment portfolios, my argument would be mainly mutual funds and exchange-traded funds. I think that's how predominantly a lot of people are investing these days.
I thought you were going a different place with this.
Got it. So the point that I think I would make is that when people get spooked about a trade war or a recession or a cut to jobs or whatever might play out, I don't think they're thinking it through so logically to say, well, I better go look at my General Motors stock or my automaker or my consumer discretionary brand stock. I think generally they're saying, what's my biggest holding? What's done the best over the last few years? Let me go dump some of that in order to insulate myself a bit.
Maybe.
It's a guess.
I mean, maybe. The other way is, oh, no, this is done well. I'm not going to sell it. So, you could come up with all these justifications for whatever. Ultimately, sometimes you have to just look at the random number generator and be like, this is what it did today, and I don't know why. It bothers me that we have to have so much certainty in today's world. I feel like people are more embarrassed now than before to say that they don't know why something happened. And I don't know if it's because we have phones in our hand all the time, and so we think that we should have access to all the information.
And I don't think that's, by the way, a markets and economic story. Go
look
across
a social thing.
Politics, across media, everywhere. the idea has to be that I know everything. And
like sometimes you can just look at the market and be like, I have no idea why it did what it did.
I'm only like 99% sure that I'm not living in the Truman Show right now.
Well, what does that make me then?
A paid actor. I think we could all use a higher dose of skepticism when it comes to our own knowledge about the world. Sometimes you just don't know what's going to happen next, and that's okay.
Yeah, like we're kind of in a little bit of an uncertain place in terms of, where this market and economy is going to go. There's a lot of uncertainty about what policies you may or may not see implemented in the next couple weeks as it relates to trade and how that could affect all of this. And so now, I don't know, like it's okay to be like, yeah, we're just going to have to see what happens.
We also shouldn't minimize that. While it is true that there's always uncertainty, right? I mean, that's kind of the premise of this program is that, hey, these are all the things that are out there that we're not sure about and what's going to happen next. I think it is fair to qualify this period of time as dealing with a lot more uncertainty than is typical. Usually we have a better sense of what trade policy is going to look like with our closest allies. Usually we have a better sense of what tax rates might look like over the next couple of years and what employment and spending at the government level is going to look like. So I'll say domestically, I think we're facing a higher degree of uncertainty, and you're seeing that echoed by most surveys that are out there. And that's important to acknowledge and could be contributing to this market sell-off. But again, we always face some degree of uncertainty when it comes to what happens next.
Let's take a quick break here. When we come back, we got a little bit of trivia right after this.
Text us 617-362-1385 with your comments and questions about today's show, and let us know what you think about the stories we're covering. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network. If you're looking for the perfect place for your next vacation, look no further than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Act fast and take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and receive a $250 per person airfare credit and a free hotel night when you book a 5-night minimum stay with any participating hotel before June 30th, 2025. St. Croix is known for its incredible history and spectacular architecture, along with world-class cuisine, incredible golf courses, and a wide variety of water sports. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Voted one of the top 2025 Caribbean destinations by U.S. News and World Report, America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. Experience a vibe like no other on the island of St. Croix. Go to visitusvi.com and use the code VIBE2025 for more information and book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025.
Developing the right financial strategy can be complicated, especially in today's economic climate. Hi, this is Mike Armstrong from the Armstrong Advisory Group. One of the most important pieces to this puzzle is the trust you have with the advisor you choose to work with. We've written a brand new guide called What Can an Advisor Do for Me? In it, we discuss a host of reasons why picking the right one can be critical to your peace of mind as you age. A financial advisor is much more than someone who simply manages your money. A financial advisor can help you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your portfolio, the various changes you may need to make to achieve your goals, and the way you may be able to protect your assets as you enter your retirement years. Call us right now at 800-393-4001 and ask for our new guide today. That number again is 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. Life estates carry a higher risk of income tax penalties and hidden gift issues. And while they can be beneficial in some cases, if you use one, you need to be aware of the pitfalls they may cause. Cushing & Dolan are experts in elder law and have nearly 40 years of experience helping families with their estate planning. Their new guide, called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates, can help you make the right decisions about how to protect your assets from probate and the nursing home.
Life estates are not simple documents and can create the potential for you to lose control of your estate. So if you haven't done your planning yet, now's the time to learn about the effects that life estates can have when it comes to protecting your assets. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request the guide online at LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
Heads up, athletes, coaches, and parents. Play for life, not just points. Hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, or HCM, is the leading cause of sudden cardiac death, especially in black athletes in sports like football or basketball. If you feel shortness of breath, chest pain, and fatigue, or have a family history of HCM, talk to your doctor. Don't let HCM bent you for good. Learn how to stay in the game at heart.org/HCM student athlete. Your heart, your health, your move.
As a busy mom to 4 kids, my to-do list is full.
Trying to fit in exercise, eating right, and prioritizing self-care can feel next to impossible.
While we can't add more hours to the day, we do have a great resource to help.
Go Red for Women has easy tips, tools, and information to help you and your family live a healthier life.
So to all the moms, the aunts, the grandmothers, and amazing women out there doing it all,
visit goredforwomen.org/momlife today.
You take care of them, Go Red for Women will take care of you.
Miss any of the show? Catch up at your convenience by visiting financialexchangeshow.com and clicking the on-demand icon where you'll find all of our interviews and full shows. This is your home for the latest business and financial news in New England and around the country. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
All right. Still a little trivia here on the Financial Exchange. And on this day, several years ago, Twitter founder Jack Dorsey, sent out the first ever tweet. Dorsey was at the helm of Twitter during its early stages and later returned to lead the company from 2015 until his departure in 2021. Trivia question today: what year was Twitter launched? Once again, what year was Twitter launched? Be the third person today to text us at 617-362-1385 with the correct answer, and you win a brand new Financial Exchange Show t-shirt. Once again, the third correct response to text us at 617-362-1385 will get that t-shirt. See complete contest rules at financialexchangeshow.com.
Okay, I just came across this, and we need to cover this story here because, every now and then you see something and you're like, this is bad. This is bad. So DoorDash, the company that delivers food to your house or wherever it is that you happen to be, has apparently, as of yesterday, partnered with Klarna, who is a buy now, pay later service, a Bumble, if you will.
There's a lot of people that are probably not familiar with buy now, pay later. So
you buy now and then you pay later.
Yeah, I know it's right in the name, but it's a basically non.
Tell me what that is.
But they don't check your
tell
credit.
Me what a breakfast diner is?
They don't check your credit, and they do not report to major credit agencies either. And it's typically used on, you'll see Affirm or Klarna or many of these agencies. If you're on like an Amazon or a Walmart, you can buy over installment periods.
And basically the way that they do a bunch of like alternative underwriting using technology and this and that supposedly they're good at. Who knows if they actually are. And so they partnered yesterday to allow people to pay for DoorDash food deliveries using interest-free installment plans. Now, I have a few different problems with this. The first is, if you have to pay for takeout using an installment plan, you shouldn't be ordering takeout.
I think that is safe to say.
Especially given like the fees associated with DoorDash. Like, as an example, if you wanted an $8 meal from McDonald's, which is not outrageous these days. Like, that's probably like middle of the road, like a number one with, fries and a large soda. Okay, you're probably in that range. it's probably going to cost you double to triple that on DoorDash. Now, if you want something that's, more expensive, let's say you're ordering, I don't know, what's a restaurant that would be on DoorDash? Like if Applebee's, let's say that they're on DoorDash. Okay, your $40 meal for the family is probably $65, something in that range. So if you have to do it on an installment plan, either like go there and eat it, or like make like if you're ordering food on an installment plan, it's a problem.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, it just is. But here's the other piece that I'm trying to figure out. So normally, Mike, when you hear like interest-free financing, what are the things that's normally happening on?
Maybe a special promo for a vehicle that they want to offload, a couch. If I go to Jordan's Furniture, maybe I can get an interest-free there, a furniture set, things like that.
There's some kind of collateral. It might not be the most valuable, but hey, if you default on the loan, great, they can take your Ford Escape. You might not like it, but they can take it. What do they do after you've digested the burrito from Chipotle that you ordered? Like, okay, we've got a collateralized burrito obligation here.
Yeah.
Well, okay, like, so Klarna, like, is lending you money for something that no longer exists because you've eaten it.
Yeah, that's a pretty rapidly depreciating asset.
Pretty quickly, within about 48 hours, there's no value left. And so I'm just trying to walk through the level of underwriting you have to be comfortable doing, because if I have to put my burrito on layaway, how in the world can I be a good enough credit risk for you to let me do this?
And follow-on effects here, just speaking to the general credit market, if I'm a credit card issuer or a mortgage issuer, I would really, really, really like to know if any of those who I'm considering an application from have borrowed money to order food in the last few years. And I can't get that information right now.
And look, this is not like to poo-poo the idea that like everyone has. I'm not trying to say like everyone has enough money. There are plenty of families that are living hand to mouth right now and have to buy groceries and stuff on credit cards.
With you.
That's
but
not what this is.
They shouldn't be using DoorDash.
Like when you talk about the overall cost to said family, it is much higher borrowing money through like trying to do DoorDash than needing to buy groceries. And so like there are so many different potential problems that I see with this. The biggest one just being, again, how as an underwriter, like you have someone who cannot pay for their DoorDash delivery all at once, and you say, I'm just going to lend you money at no interest? Which also then raises one other interesting question, which is, okay, they say like there's no interest.
Where are they making money?
What kind of cut is Klarna taking from DoorDash? Because they have to make money somewhere. This isn't just like you don't do get in the door deals on Chipotle. Like that's just not how it works. So then it's like, so how much is DoorDash raising their fees in order to pay for this zero interest loan? Because again, I would not want to be in the business of giving away free money for burritos.
No.
That just doesn't seem like the best business model. So I've got a lot of questions on this, and I don't think I have any answers that point to this actually being a good thing for consumers.
Agreed.
It's rare that you find something that I can just like universally be like, this is bad.
Yeah, bad and stupid.
Yes. It's hard.
And I don't really see who it's a good deal for.
No, it like all the parties, you look at it, you're like, okay, here's who it's a good deal for. The restaurant. And even there, like they're still paying the DoorDash fees, so you can even be like, yeah, there's a problem there and that their margins are getting eaten away, but most of the restaurants on DoorDash now
they're already
raise
there.
their prices by 20 to 30% to compensate for that anyways. So you could make a case that this is okay for the restaurant, but
man, food on layaway is just a crazy concept.
Mike, I'm going to put this burrito here for you. You're going to be able to see it and smell it, and when you can finally pay for it, you can have it.
Again, it's not quite layaway because you get the product up front, but this is the closest thing we have to, for those of you that used to put something on layaway, this is the closest thing we have to that.
Here's the thing. Layaway made sense.
Yeah.
The premise of it was, I can't afford this now. They're going to put it in the stock room until I can actually afford to buy it, and then they're going to give it to me. And if I can't afford to buy it, it goes back into the regular circulation, and that's it. Like, layaway made a ton of sense.
Right.
This is reverse layaway. This is I don't even know what you would call it. It's just throwing food at people and saying, pay me later for it.
Yeah, it's a tremendously bad idea.
Kind of wild.
The stuff that I worry about, again.
There are only two tricks in the finance world. It's how can I leverage something and how can I securitize it? And they just get bundled up different ways. And this is basically, look, how can I, generate leverage on food? It just... Ugh. And this is before you even get into just like the grossness, like societally. Again, I feel like I've been harping on this stuff lately. So if someone can't afford food, you're going to charge them interest. It
doesn't seem right.
Now, I get it that it's takeout, so it's...
Yeah, it's pretty discretionary food.
It is, but it's still kind of like...
Gross.
I know you can't pay for this now.
Yeah.
I'm not going to charge you interest, but it's got to show up somewhere.
Yeah, you're going to pay for it somehow.
You're going to pay for it somehow because there's no free lunch, is the saying. I don't know. This feels goopy to me.
Yeah, just bad business all around, and just a dystopian feeling saying that I'm going to buy a $30 meal and pay for it over a number of installment payments.
Are there... like credit default swaps on burritos now?
Yeah.
Is that where we're going?
Sure hope so.
We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we get the trivia answer, and then we're talking Nvidia.
Bringing the latest financial news straight to your radio every day. It's the Financial Exchange on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Hey, listen, are you a 50-year-old person looking for term life insurance? Then you need to talk to Bob. Bob specializes in helping people find $1 million or more of term life insurance for a couple of $100 a month. Look, you need to know there's a price war in the term life insurance business, and you may be paying too much. Call Bob, and he'll shop and see how much money he can save you. Look, this could be the last term life insurance policy you ever have. Your rates are guaranteed for the next 20 years. That's right, guaranteed level rates for the next 20 years. And if you're a smoker or your health is not perfect, Bob has great rates for you too. So for $1 million of term life insurance coverage for a couple of $100 a month, call Bob right now. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. 800-965-7987. That's 800-965-7987. Paid for by Term Direct.
Life estates carry a higher risk of income tax penalties and hidden gift issues. And while they can be beneficial in some cases, if you use one, you need to be aware of the pitfalls they may cause. Cushing & Dolan are experts in elder law and have nearly 40 years of experience helping families with their estate planning. Their new guide, called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates, can help you make the right decisions about how to protect your assets from probate and the nursing home. Life estates are not simple documents and can create the potential for you to lose control of your estate. So if you haven't done your planning yet, now's the time to learn about the effects that life estates can have when it comes to protecting your assets. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request the guide online at LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
If you're looking for the perfect place for your next vacation, look no further than the U.S. Virgin Islands. Act fast and take advantage of a special promotion to St. Croix. Experience a vibe like no other and receive a $250 per person airfare credit and a free hotel night when you book a 5-night minimum stay with any participating hotel before June 30th, 2025. St. Croix is known for its incredible history and spectacular architecture, along with world-class cuisine, incredible golf courses, and a wide variety of water sports. From the moment you arrive, you'll fall naturally in rhythm with the heartbeat of the islands. There's no money to exchange, and travel from New England could not be easier. Voted one of the top 2025 Caribbean destinations by U.S. News and World Report, America's Caribbean paradise is waiting for you. Experience a vibe like no other on the island of St. Croix. Go to visitusvi.com and use the code VIBE2025 for more information and book your trip today. That's visitusvi.com and code VIBE2025.
Managing money can be overwhelming. Investments, retirement, taxes, where do you even start? This is Susan Powers, and today I'm joined by Michael Armstrong, co-host of the Financial Exchange and the president of Armstrong Advisory Group, to break it down. First question, Mike. What's the biggest reason someone should work with a financial advisor?
Yeah, it's a fair question. Like, a financial advisor can help you set and reach financial goals, whether that's saving for retirement, buying a home, protecting your estate. They can create personalized strategies that align with your income and expenses and risk tolerance. Plus, financial planning just isn't one and done. Typically, you'll adjust your plan as life changes. And so having somebody that's knowledgeable alongside there that can guide you through those different stages of life is really important.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Now, what about people who think that they can manage their finances and investments on their own? What do they miss out on?
Look, I'm not blind to this. Some people can, and it requires a bit of an honest self-assessment. But if you're not looking at key factors like tax strategies, investment risk, long-term planning, those are areas where financial advisors can really help to come in, maximize returns while keeping an eye on risk-adjusted returns, optimizing asset allocation, and just minimizing those unnecessary risks that we see so frequently taken by folks. So there can be a place for one in people's lives, but it's not a one for everybody.
If you want professional financial guidance, reach out to the Armstrong Advisory Group today to request your free copy of our new guide, What Can a Financial Advisor Do for Me? Call 800-393-4001 to start securing your financial future. That number again, 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. The Financial Exchange Show podcast drops every day on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a 5-star review. You're listening to the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
All right, trivia question today was, what year was Twitter launched? That would be 2006. Gail from West Boylston, Mass. is our winner today, taking home a brand new Financial Exchange Show t-shirt. Congrats to Gail. And we play trivia every day here on the Financial Exchange. See complete contest rules at financialexchangeshow.com.
Mike, do you have your fermions in order?
No.
Tucker, what about you?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
He always
got to
does.
stay on top of those fermions.
Yeah, the fermions were, if you're not familiar with the term, Microsoft earlier this month unveiled some kind of quantum computing chip that has something to do with fermions. I don't know what they are. They're little subatomic, quantum particles and something. So that's creatures. That's what the term stems from. It's not, a Star Trek alien or something like that, but that's what I always think.
Do you mean Furbies?
No, the fermions.
These guys?
The fermions had a big war with the Klingons for interstellar domination.
The little fluffy things with the mohawks,
big eyes. You know.
Got it.
Yeah, they're tougher than they look, actually. Anyways, Nvidia CEO Jensen Huang during they were having some big Nvidia conference the last couple days, and he invited a bunch of quantum computing CEOs to it in order to apologize to them for saying that quantum computing was a reality that's 15 to 30 years away. And he had them all there to say, no, like, it's actually going to be much sooner. Okay, I guess that's fine, but for the average person, this still doesn't mean anything, and we still don't know anything about when quantum computers are actually going to have any kind of legitimate impact in our lives.
I don't either, but I have a question, I guess. Does this fall into the same category as these recent announcements of partnerships with General Motors and Taco Bell and Nvidia just generally going out there on a PR campaign?
It feels a little different, doesn't it, than like what they've done previously? Because for the last 2 years, it was, hey, AI is great, AI is awesome, our sales are way up, we're good. And there's definitely something different in the air now. I don't know exactly what it is, but it's just kind of odd to see this kind of thing. And this is not a, the sky is falling, type of thing. It's much more, for the last couple of years, and all Nvidia had to do was show up not Nvidia, but all Nvidia and Huang needed to do for the last couple of years was show up every 3 months, say, hey, we expected $4 billion in profit, instead it came in at $7 billion, and investors went, wow.
Yeah.
And now you're trying to announce this stuff every day, it seems like, and it's, I don't know, it doesn't feel, it's not a great sign to me when a company that previously didn't really have to do any marketing is now feeling like they have to market.
Yeah, it's AI washing, and I don't know if it's a threat that they feel from, like we had the big DeepSeek innovation earlier this year. I'm not entirely sure where the pressure's coming from, or if it is actually a response to pressure. But it is just, again, interesting to announce partnerships that I think seem to me anyway to be designed to get in front of the average person instead of the one who, let's be honest, a few years ago, very few people had actually heard of Nvidia, and no individuals out there are buying Nvidia chips. They only became famous when their stock price was one of the best performing companies in history. And so maybe this is an attempt to just get the name out there, because when you announce a partnership with Taco Bell, you certainly get a little bit more press for the average person, layperson, than you do when you're announcing a partnership with Microsoft.
A sound estate plan has many layers. In some cases, using a life estate can be a beneficial piece of your plan, but they can also be problematic. Call Cushing & Dolan, the experts in elder law, by calling 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. Building the proper estate plan not only protects your assets from the nursing home, but also helps you avoid probate and potentially eliminates estate taxes. So be aware of the many problems life estates can cause before you create one. Call Cushing & Dolan today by calling 866-848-5699 and request this new guide. In it, you'll learn about the significant effects that life estates can have on your estate plan, including the possibility of losing control of your estate. Call 866-848-5699 and get your free guide today. That's 866-848-5699, or you can request it from their website, legalexchangeshow.com.
The proceeding was paid for, and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and/or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Armstrong do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
So there's a pizza place in Somerville by the name of Dragon Pizza, and apparently sometime on Sunday they put up a social media post reporting that they had to throw out a group of, quote, entitled lazy parents for, quote, disrespecting the restaurant by allowing their unsupervised children to play. They didn't give any further details on it, but they did put in, like, some directives for, dining at Dragon Pizza with kids. They said, we welcome all children dining. We do not welcome parents who do not want to share a dining experience with the children. Quote, we loathe parents who use our games as babysitters while they ignore their children and let them damage and abuse our games. And, quote, we do not appreciate parents who treat our pizza as a cheap, simple option to feed their children until they can have their own dinner. And basically, like, it seems like everyone's decided to weigh in on this either by saying that, like, the pizza shop is awful or that the parents must be awful, when really we have no idea what actually happened here. And I will be the first to admit, like, I don't know. I'm not going to be like, this person's right, that person's wrong. But I'm getting back to something we've touched on, which is there seems to be more of this happening lately in public where there are disagreements that are going beyond what I think we previously thought was acceptable. And it indicates something broken about us in some way that we're getting to this point, I think.
Yeah, and I see businesses do this pretty frequently, of making a big social media post and making a big deal of it. And I think a lot of it probably comes from fear because they don't want a negative review on their website impacting their business. I've seen it from local restaurants right here in Needham. There was a big kerfuffle about a local restaurant who was hosting, I think, what turned out to be a pretty controversial group at their restaurant, and faced a bunch of backlash, yada, 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 and they had to go on social media and post about all of this. I don't know. I don't know what to make of it, if it's a problem with the way that we just can't deal with each other, or it very well may be how we consume things these days, because quite honestly, if you are a business that gets a few really garbage online reviews, it can lead to very significant downturn in your eventual business. So I don't know what to make of it.
Yeah,
I have no idea if the parents were being totally irresponsible.
I have no idea
jerks.
who's right or wrong on this. Like, I really don't know, and I'm not going to try to pass judgment, because it seems like there's enough people passing judgment on, you know, who's in the right or who's in the wrong. But it just feels like, again, whether you're talking about restaurants, we've gone through all of the different stuff on airplanes of people getting kicked off and this and that, and people yelling at each other. Like, we're just not very patient with each other right now, and it's not great. And I know we don't really say this often, it's kind of a loserish thing to say, but let's just be a little nicer when we're, like, seeing people, man. You know?
Yeah, I've seen a
Bill
lot
and
of
Ted once said, be excellent to each other, and maybe that's what we should be.
Yeah, just common decency.
Yeah, just
could use a little more of that.
Be a human. The AI is going to come for all of us and get us at some point, so just be nice to the humans you see.
Yeah.
You know? Let the AI be the one to, get all up in our face. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to be joined by Paul LaMonica right after this, and we're going to be very, very nice to him.
There's only one show that follows Wall Street's continued volatility. Keep it here all morning long on the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Developing the right financial strategy can be complicated, especially in today's economic climate. Hi, this is Mike Armstrong from the Armstrong Advisory Group. One of the most important pieces to this puzzle is the trust you have with the advisor you choose to work with. We've written a brand new guide called What Can an Advisor Do for Me? In it, we discuss a host of reasons why picking the right one can be critical to your peace of mind as you age. A financial advisor is much more than someone who simply manages your money. A financial advisor can help you understand the strengths and weaknesses of your portfolio, the various changes you may need to make to achieve your goals, and the way you may be able to protect your assets as you enter your retirement years. Call us right now at 800-393-4001 and ask for our new guide today. That number again is 800-393-4001.
The proceeding was paid for by Armstrong Advisory Group, a registered investment advisor. Nothing in the ad or in any Armstrong guide is specific financial, legal, or tax advice. Consult your own financial, tax, and estate planning advisors before making any investment decisions. Armstrong may contact you to offer investment advisory services. Life estates carry a higher risk of income tax penalties and hidden gift issues. And while they can be beneficial in some cases, if you use one, you need to be aware of the pitfalls they may cause. Cushing & Dolan are experts in elder law and have nearly 40 years of experience helping families with their estate planning. Their new guide, called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates, can help you make the right decisions about how to protect your assets from probate and the nursing home. Life estates are not simple documents and can create the potential for you to lose control of your estate. So if you haven't done your planning yet, now's the time to learn about the effects that life estates can have when it comes to protecting your assets. Call Cushing & Dolan today at 866-848-5699 and request their new guide called Calculating the Consequences of Life Estates. That's 866-848-5699. Or request the guide online at LegalExchangeShow.com. The proceeding was paid for and the views expressed are solely those of Cushing & Dolan. Cushing & Dolan and or Armstrong Advisory may contact you offering legal or investment services. Cushing & Dolan and Armstrong Advisory do not endorse each other and are not affiliated.
It happens all over Massachusetts.
Can you tie my shoes?
In every home and every community.
Be careful on your bike.
Learning can happen anytime, anywhere.
We'll see you at practice this weekend.
And no matter how learning takes place in your family's life, DESE is there as your partner. The Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education. Never stop learning. Find out more at mass.gov/back-to-school.
Sponsored by the Massachusetts Department for Elementary and Secondary Education.
Environmental nonprofit Ocean River Institute is working with communities to tackle climate change with nature-based solutions that feature slowing water down and building more soil with grasses and plants. Research indicates that people acting in their own neighborhoods can build an inch of soil in a year and slow sea level rise down by as much as 25%. Please visit oceanriver.org for more information on opportunities to make a difference and go the distance for savvy stewardship of a greener and bluer planet Earth.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you from Senior Care USA. The average funeral now costs over $10,000. That leaves your loved ones the burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay your family up to $30,000 to help pay for your funeral and other expenses. There are no medical exams. Your rates will never increase, and your plan cannot be canceled, regardless of your medical conditions, as long as you make your premium payments. Get up to $30,000 in final expense insurance. Call now for free information. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. 800-378-3818. That's 800-378-3818.
Find daily interviews and full shows of the Financial Exchange on our YouTube page. Like us on YouTube and get caught up on anything and everything you might have missed. This is the Financial Exchange Radio Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
The Financial Exchange is a proud partner of the Disabled American Veterans Department of Massachusetts, and you can register right now for this year's 5K at Castle Island by visiting dav5k.boston. The event will sell out again, so if you're interested in participating, now's the time to reserve your spot. Come out and help support our great American heroes by joining us for the DAV 5K. Visit dav5k.boston to register or to make a donation today. That's dav5k.boston.
Paul LaMonica from Barron's joins us now, here to talk a little bit about, well, leveraged single stock ETFs. Paul, how are you today?
I am good. Yes, it's a wacky world we live in.
Paul, for someone who's not familiar with the concept, what is a single stock ETF, either leveraged or unleveraged, and why would one use that rather than actually owning or shorting the stock?
Owning the common stock, exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, something that a lot of traders, might use for hedging or, to kind of magnify a gain or loss in a stock, as opposed to something that a buy and hold long-term investor would want. So, typically these types of ETFs use derivatives to amplify the exposure of what would happen with an individual stock. So the Tesla short leveraged funds are designed to go up even more than what the stock price is going down at. So if Tesla's going down 5%, you have a 2x leveraged fund, in theory, be about 9 to 10% that the stock that this ETF should go up. And it's, the inverse of that for the long ETFs, which go up even more when Tesla's stock is going up. But these are incredibly risky, even though these short leveraged Tesla ETFs have done well this year as Tesla stock has plunged for various reasons. over the long haul, if you buy and hold these things, you're losing a lot of money because Tesla's still been a pretty good stock over the past year or so and for the past few years.
How popular are these now?
I mean, they've increased in popularity. Used to see decent volume and retail, traders buying them as well. But the fund providers themselves do caution that, a lot of times these are really something that only more sophisticated investors, particularly short-term traders, should be using as opposed to a long-term investor. Like if you like the case for Tesla and Elon Musk, it's probably not a great idea to own one of these leveraged ETFs that are going to go up and down very wildly. Just buy the stock.
When you look at the potential downside of, especially if you look at some of these, leveraged short ETFs, can you explain to any of our listeners, like how does the potential downside materialize and how big is the potential downside?
Well, I mean, when you think about, say if you are shorting a stock, it's always talked about that one of the reasons why heavily shorted stocks can somewhat conversely go up a lot when there's good news is that if you're borrowing shares and selling them and you have to eventually buy them back, I mean, your losses are magnified the more that stock goes up. So think about that and add leverage to it as well. It's just incredibly risky to be short a stock that can be volatile and might have the potential to go higher on good news. So it's why these leveraged inverse Tesla ETFs have, even though they are a great short-term trade this year, because Tesla stock is down, 40% or so, partly due to all the concerns about Musk and Doge. I think it's just dangerous to be short a stock like Tesla for long. I mean, Tesla's back up today a little bit, I think partly because of the news he had that all hands meeting yesterday. And I think maybe there are some hopes that, Musk realizes that he can't pay exclusive attention to Washington, D.C. and what he's doing there in the Trump administration. He has a duty to his employees and shareholders to, run Tesla as well.
Very good. Paul, we appreciate you joining us today. I hope you have a great weekend of watching a little bit of college basketball, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Yep. Thank you very much. Looking forward to more March Madness. Definitely. Not just the stock market.
There you go. That is Paul LaMonica from Barron's talking about these single stock leveraged and short leveraged ETFs.
Just a PSA on all that stuff. There's a lot of new types of ETF products out there that did not exist in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's the single stock leverage things or a bunch of ones that try and limit downside and cap upside. I guess the point that I'm making about all these is they are all very, very new. And if you don't fully understand them, beware. Yeah, that's just my statement for the day. Staying on Tesla for a moment, Edmunds, the what do we call them? Shopping site, are they? Or like
they do car reviews and all that stuff.
Yeah.
They're car experts.
Yeah, they are reporting
but
that...
But not car gurus.
No, that's a different company.
Yes.
They are reporting that March represented the highest ever share that it had seen for Tesla trade-ins towards new or used cars from dealerships selling other brands. So that story that we had alluded to of, hey, Musk's role within the administration sparking some, or just Musk's general behavior sparking some backlash, seems to be playing out in a, I guess, somewhat expected way, and helps to explain some of the volatility they're seeing in the share price.
A Southwest plane aborted a takeoff after they tried to take off on a taxiway rather than a runway. Now, we again, I'm. It's probably more complicated than we think it is.
Oh, certainly.
I can understand how this happens because you go through any airport and you have taxiways that are parallel to every runway. Some of them might be wide. You might think you've turned onto the I can understand this. I know that the easy thing to do is just to be like, oh, like how could they ever do that? But I wouldn't. This is the kind of thing that does normally happen a few times a year, just because there's so many planes and these airports are busy and complex. And
I'm always curious about where the line is on this stuff. I know we probably have a few pilots listening right now, but like, the message that my uncle always gave when he had a job as a pilot for a number of years was, just don't scratch the paint. It's not as though you get graded on a scale when you're a pilot. It's kind of pass fail. And I don't know if driving down the wrong runway thinking that it's a runway is a fail grade on that one, and you actually lose your job on it.
I don't know that you lose your job because of this, but I suspect that you're put on some kind of heightened supervision and training program, and if anything happens during, a probationary period afterwards, it's kind of like, Bill, we talked about this. You don't try to take off on the taxiway.
Yeah.
So it's not great.
High pressure job. Interesting.
It is
really interesting job.
I would not be good at it. I would not be good at it.
Yeah.
But so that's what we have with Southwest today. We're done for the entire weekend. I hope you all have a great weekend. Enjoy a little bit of basketball. Markets down modestly today. We'll see how they do next week when we return.